toys and to bring the joy of making to a whole bunch of people. So Nathan, tell us all about the quadcopters and Create UNSW. Thanks.
Thanks, Jess. All right, so yeah, I've named this presentation Flying into the Future. Before I sort of go and talk about what we do at Create UNSW and the group that we've made, which is sort of we just started not much more than 18 months ago, and it's grown really, really fast because of like the environment that we live in as a society and the desire to make things and to utilize the technology out there, no matter what your interest or no matter what your passions. So, is this what? Oh, all right. Skipping ahead a bit. Okay, so first I want to talk about the maker movement that's been going on. Many of you have sort of been aware of groups popping up all over Sydney and advances in technology such as 3D printing with the Botblitz robots, which have been made because of their technology available at the moment. So there are these many groups out there that are forming. Now, why is it now that it's happening? Why do we see this rapid increase, and why will we see this rapid increase continue? It's because of a few things. It's one, obviously, the developments in the technology, such as 3D printing, such as process, prototyping. You don't have to sort of waste away like half your life savings just to develop a product. Programming or building things is no longer as expensive anymore. The other thing that's leading to this sort of development is what I would describe as the increasing mix between various industries. Before, in terms of like product development, you know, you'd have people who specialised in the mechanical, and then people who specialised in the electrical, and people who specialised in sort of artistic work. Whereas today, what we're seeing are products that are increasingly sort of melding all these three kind of skills or ideas together. And that sort of demands that people know more perhaps than they just learnt at high school or even studied at university, that they need to know these different skills, or it's very valuable at least to know these different skills so that they can prototype these products. So that's one of the reasons that we popped up at UNSW, is that we saw this opportunity for all these people who wanted to learn how to build things, but perhaps it was very difficult for them to build things by themselves because, you know, it's hard to be motivated, especially when you don't have the knowledge, and perhaps it would take hours of research online, which you don't really have time for. So learning is best done in groups, and that's why we came about. So just talk about a few of the things we've done, and my favourite video going on at the moment, I'll just talk about that first. This is a first year engineering design project, which we were able to sort of help out with. So this was part of at UNSW, the Bionic Hand project. Now, I'm a 5th year student at UNSW, and I remember 5 years ago that the amount of people building, or groups, you couldn't imagine that you could build something as complex as this, not in least the sort of space of time of a first year engineering design project. But what we've done is we've supplied a 3D printing service so that they can print fingers for this claw. We have sourced electronic parts such as the servos and the microcontroller so that they can actuate this hand, and given them advice on how to build things and run free workshops. And this has meant that no longer, you know, people out there, these first year students, being thrown into the dark in terms of these projects, but they can actually get their hands around something and at the end of the day produce something that is meaningful and that can actually sort of indicate a level of knowledge far beyond what, you know, anyone would suspect. So in terms of the workshops that we run, I'll just go through a few of them. We start off with the Arduino workshops. The Arduino workshops are microcontrollers and things like that are programmable. I talked about the 3D printing service. Hackerspaces, if anyone knows what a hackerspace is, basically it's a space where people can come together and use the tools to make things. And finally, obviously a lot of the robots that you see out there, we come together and make various robots, and particularly we're involved in UAV development. That is, the rotors there, the quadcopters, is a project that we've sort of been embarking on. So I'm going to talk about that particular project because that's the one that for us is the most exciting and the most innovative. Just before, those are some pictures of some of the events that we're involved in. Now this is a photo of one of our quadcopters in flight. In fact, it is one of them sitting on the table over there. So this was taken at the beginning of this year. I just want to talk about, firstly, what is a UAV? So a UAV, or a drone, as some people call it, has some sort of scary connotations in terms of, because they were being used by the US military. But really, when we talk about unmanned aerial vehicles, we're talking about things that can essentially, at the basic level, you can fly them from remote control, but they can fly themselves. So how do these UAVs work, and why have they been sort of increasingly popping up? Well, it's because of the advances in the technology that I was mentioning before. So we have here this flight board, which we've been using on some of our unmanned aerial vehicles. Now, this flight board here is the size of your credit card and doesn't cost much more than $50, and has the capabilities of what a tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars of research and product development had about only 5 or 10 years ago. So on board this little credit card sized chip, it has a gyroscope and accelerometer that can tell exactly what orientation it is in. And it's likely that other devices such as the Sphero use these sensors as well to determine their orientation. It's got a compass, an altimeter that can determine differences in air pressure at a resolution of 10 centimeters. That is, it knows the difference from here to here in any environment, which is amazing. And of course, it's also got a GPS which we can attach to it, meaning that it can locate its position anywhere in the world within a few seconds. So as well as that, the software that it runs has many autopilot capabilities. So these things can take off, land, navigate, hold certain positions, and we also get a live data link from them, which allows us to connect even over the internet, even via 4G, and update things such as waypoints which we want to send it to, and sort of actions that we want it to take, which is really, really exciting. So that's just an example of the interface of what controlling one of these things looks like. So it's really user-friendly. It doesn't require any special programming skills to be able to do these. These things are accessible to people right now. So here's another image of our quadcopter over the SunSwift solar car at UNSW. We partnered up with them to do some photography, which is one of the many applications I wanted to talk about. So I'll just leave that video running on the right-hand side, taken from our quadcopter. So other exciting applications of this technology, just a few of them. We've got surveying, so cameras and visual technologies attached to these unmanned aerial vehicles. It's going beyond toys now into the realm of actually what is the future of this technology. We can survey landscapes using things on these aerial vehicles. The advantage of aerial vehicles, of course, is that they don't have to negotiate the obstacles on the ground, which is why they have a lot less restrictions on them. They can go many different places. Photography, as illustrated, search and rescue is a really big element. Imagine someone drowning off the ocean and a UAV that can find that person and then drop a life-saving device on them. And also rapid delivery services, as we've seen with Amazon Prime Air and other things. And also perhaps rapid delivery of emergency medical supplies. So these are the things that will be happening in the near future. So where to next from here? Well, I think it's fair to say that technology is pushing these things forward, and these things will be advancing very, very quickly into the future. I expect within the next 5 years or so that we'll be seeing these things fly around Sydney. Of course, these things are quite dangerous. You can't just, fly it wherever you want for fear of, exactly. You don't want to crash onto people. There have been accidents, people who are being irresponsible with these, but if the technology is respected and we use these things correctly, I think this technology has a lot of potential, and that's why it's one of the toys of tomorrow. Thank you.